Hello, everyone. Okay, so... Whoa, that was loud. So, I am not alone. I am joined through the power of Discord by some staff members from the site. So, I'm just going to allow them to speak. But we've got Prof. Cinders, Stellarwind, and Teapot with us. I'll allow them to say hello.
Hi.
Say hi, guys.
Greetings.
Hi guys.
Hello.
To make it clear who's who, this is Prof. Cinders.
Hello.
This is Stell.
Greetings.
And this is Teapot.
Hi.
And basically, we're just going to kind of talk over the kind of boring part of the beginning of this game.
The game audio isn't actually coming through.
I will see about that. Stell and Petey should both be a bit louder now.
Okay. Well, so I kind of forgot this game had a tutorial-y thing. They kind of got rid of that.
Yeah. It's odd, I was actually playing Black 2 a bit recently. And completely forgot that at the start of the game, it pretty much asks you whether or not you've played a Pokemon game before.
It would be really, really nice if that actually carried over into the game and you didn't have to go through the whole...
Yeah. It still includes all the capture tutorials and all that.
Exactly.
Gubbins,
that's
but,
exactly what I meant. Sorry.
It does allow you to skip some stuff.
It was an improvement, if not enough, much like half the other stuff they added in that game.
Actually,
Yeah. I think one of the things I'm most sad about with the whole Gen 5 stuff is that the difficulty stuff was so hard to actually use.
Yeah, that's...
after the game ended and you basically needed to have the right version to do it. Not the smartest choice.
I mean, it basically just made it useless.
Pretty much.
I can't even remember the mechanics of how you got to it.
You got given a key when you finished the game, which you could use yourself or trade to someone else, I believe. But it effectively meant that it was locked behind the postgame.
Didn't it mean that you could only actually share it with someone else, that you couldn't do the difficulty mode yourself?
I think so, I can't quite remember.
I think you could do it, but the only sorry, I'm slightly out of it. I think you could use your key, but you only got the hard mode key from black and the easy mode key from white, so...
Yeah, I remember.
If you had the objectively right version, you were F'd.
The obviously problem ended up being that I bet they put it in and they kind of worked out if anyone used it, and because no one did, they decided not to do it anymore, forgetting that no one used it because it was literally useless.
Game freak logic.
Oh no!
Oh no, it doesn't all fit.
I forgot about that.
Maybe just go with Gary.
Wasn't until X and Y they finally fixed that by adding, I think, 2 characters on.
Why is everything all caps?
That's a very good point. Let's make it not all caps.
Because otherwise everyone would be yelling.
I was doing a test playthrough of this last week, and because I just wanted to get through it quickly, I called my character No. It does lead to some brilliant moments. Like, there's a part of the game where your mother says, "Oh," and then your character name, so she shouts, "Oh no," at you.
Reminds me of time that I've... Sometimes when I do a run of Diamond, Pearl, or Platinum, I just think the rifle thud 2 exclamation points. That's all he does.
At this point, I didn't know he had a different name.
So weird that there's no trainer customization anymore. Or not anymore, but back then, I guess. Oh god, it's so slow.
It takes about 12 years to get anywhere with a Pokemon game.
It's been 3,000 years!
The absolute worst part is you don't get the running shoes for ages. I'm already holding B.
I do that too.
Yeah, I also do that.
Oh hey, it's Peekaboo.
Pick a
I
plank.
remember getting one of those plastic Pokedex things that they did in the late 90s, like years and years and years and years ago. And the first thing I did was to try and put Peekaboo into it to see if it came up with anything.
I don't think you're
Alas,
alone.
It did not.
I remember getting one of those kind of things and looking for Togepi.
Oh yeah, that was my second thing. That was the second thing I tried.
It confused me for years why Togepi wasn't in anything.
Yeah.
Dangerous to go alone. Take this.
You know you can hold the button down to make it go faster, right?
Well, you go
that-
into the
Yeah, I needed to go into the options and fix that actually.
Yeah.
generally the first thing I do whenever I get a chance.
Same.
Welcome to New Bark Town. No, we don't know what's happened to the old one. Wasn't even the same dog.
I think we're getting towards the point where we could do with picking a starter, right?
Yeah.
We should probably figure out how we're going to do that.
I'm just gonna get people to spam what they want.
Okay, Twitch chat, you heard that. Start spamming.
I think we have 1 vote for Tossstyle, 1 vote for Cyndaquil, and 1 vote for Chikorita so far.
Another one for Totodile. Thanks, Dem.
No, that's the same guy. That's the same guy.
No, that was Dem.
Oh, sorry. I was only looking at Twitch chat. Ah.
Looks like it's leaning towards Totodile.
It usually is. never understand what people find this hyperactive lizard. Well, not exactly a lizard technically, but you know what I mean.
Eevee isn't a choice shiny.
This isn't really working.
It seems like Totodil's winning it. So I'm gonna call it.
It works for me.
And I'm gonna call this Chikorita!
Because of course.
Suppose we should give it a nickname as well. First usable nickname wins.
We're going from Twitch chat. Africa.
Teeth.
That might be cheap.
I mean, technically PD won.
Holy. So it is.
Teeth it is.
Needs to be all caps though, just for the sake of the reference.
Too late now.
Ah well. Close enough.
Mr. Pokemon has to be the most unimaginative name in the entire series.
Yep.
Surely there must be a worse name somewhere.
I mean, Bill was pretty unimaginative, but Mr. Pokemon is worse.
Are you talking to me? Oh, they call it Pokemon. Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? They call me Mr. Pokemon! Check it out, Hugh. It's a giant hat attached to a marrow.
See, this is the point in the stream where normally we would all start complaining about following Pokemon not being a thing anymore. But
now
it
they
is
are.
again.
Oh, sort of.
I don't even remember if this is my house. I don't think it is. No, it's not.
No, your house is the big one next to the lab, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought you were just exploring.
No, every time I try to leave, I keep getting told to not leave.
Ah, right.
There's wind turbines.
Yes, I do
Right,
remember.
This is my biggest fan. Select Luigi and select an early symbol. Streams crossed regarding Johto games.
Oh, just let me leave.
Can you run yet?
Not bad enough.
That's basically every Pokemon early game ever in a single sentence. And also Lumio City.
Yay! Now we get to be told how to catch a Pokemon. No, wait, that's not until after.
Yeah.
It is nice that the roots kind of carry on. I know they stopped doing that, and for good reason, but I kind of liked it.
Now I'm immediately sad we aren't getting the beta Noctowl.
Suppose we probably should talk about those beta Pokemon.
I'll be honest, I haven't really been paying a great deal of attention to them, so
The
I have.
Noctowl is awesome. It is basically an angry sphere.
And it still
Nice.
has the one leg.
I hadn't noticed that.
It's kind of very noticeable, to be honest. Or maybe it's just because I'm so used to the concept of Hoot sort of standing on like an ultimate thing.
I honestly just got really distracted by its face.
It does have the best face.
We need to come back here later for Geodude.
I was wondering how the Ditto evolution was supposed to work, though. I assume it's just like the same thing.
It was a Metal Coat Raid evolution.
Huh. But I mean,
Yeah.
Ditto
Actually,
inherits.
It wasn't Steel type.
Was it? Interesting.
I think it was probably supposed to be, but they haven't completely implemented the thing yet.
I mean, doesn't Ditto take on the stats of its whatever it copies?
It does, which is one of the reasons this was so weird.
Yeah, it does seem like an evolution that doesn't make
what
much
they
sense.
were planning for Animon.
Maybe it was a case of like allowing it to use other moves too.
I don't know, maybe. Or maybe they had the idea of making things like transforming into Pokemon but having like a steel type whatever going on in the background. I don't know.
To be honest,
Yeah,
it
maybe
kind of
they-
seems like they had the concept of basically a Ditto gets traded with Metal Coat and gets stuck in that form. But they had no idea what to do with it beyond that. Which is probably why it got cut.
The one thing I keep thinking about concerning Animon is the fact that it looks like it's always screaming.
That's why I kind of think it's that kind of... It got stuck like that when it got traded with a Metal Coat. It didn't want to be
honest,
like that.
I'm not surprised it's screaming. I mean,
Oh
they just
god, I
basically
forgot about this
poured
part.
iron filings into its protoplasm and sent it through an electromagnetic carrier wave. There's a reason why they don't let you get MRIs if you have any metal on you.
Yeah,
Ouch.
On the bright side, he does give you the running shoes after this.
yeah.
Hooray, at
teasing you.
last.
One more thing on the Ditto thing is that it does finally make sense of why on earth it carries metal powder around with it.
Oh yeah, good
it's
point.
Kind of a vague reference to that.
There are quite a few things that now suddenly make sense that never made sense before.
Yep.
Like the whole
Yay.
Remoraid Octillery thing.
Yeah.
I mean, in the new, in the final design's defense,
Yes.
Remoraid actually looks a lot more natural now. It's kind of difficult picturing it swim when it's basically just a gun. Maybe it moves through jet propulsion or something, but yeah, I'm a bit miffed about Auxiliary because it actually looks really nifty as a tank.
I would have loved if we'd gotten the Remoraid and it just moved backwards just from shooting itself.
Still kind of. We were supposed to get Leafeon in Generation 2, and we didn't.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird one.
I mean, I guess they just couldn't figure out how to make it evolve. In the beta, it evolves with the Leaf Stone, but I guess they realized that no, we can't retcon that. They actually had a bunch of Pokemon that were like that. I mean, the Scyther evolution, Pinsir evolution, all the weird evolutions, really. They were just level evolutions, not just like anything in particular.
Yeah, it's kind of like they applied logic to it afterwards, rather than before they'd made them.
That sounds like Pokemon to me.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't really figure out like that they could just introduce new methods for evolving things, and they only had that particular brain hero moment in Generation 4. Wait, we could make them need a certain move to evolve?
I forgot to go to Mr. Pokemon's house.
That's in the route, in the next route.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm going back there.
Basically.
Oh right, sorry. I'm watching the stream is a bit behind what we're seeing.
Every time I see this exclamation point appear over a character's head in a Pokemon game, I just get the Metal Gear Solid noise in my head.
It's always made me think of Golden Sun.
That too.
Oh yeah, I forgot you could do that in HeartGold and SoulSilver. Just push the running shoes button once and ignore it for the rest of the game.
Yep.
Lifesaver.
Wise choice there.
Yes, another thing that should have stayed.
I remember the days when this only owl we got.
So, question for the stream and the chat, in fact. Let's Go's coming, obviously. We're going back to Kanto, for better or worse. If they added more new evolutions or forms or whatever, what would you like to see?
Jinx evolution.
Hi, Calorie.
It's me.
Spontaneous you.
I mean, yes, I'd like to see a Jinx evolution, and I very much doubt it will ever happen because I think they try and forget that Jinx exists.
Jinx is problematic.
I mean,
Just
they
one
pretend
thing.
Porygon doesn't exist, and they've given it 2 evolutions, so...
Yeah, true.
Two really good ones at that.
I mean, we'll probably get a new evolution because, well, we're gonna get a new evolution at some point.
I think-
some of these.
If the sort of scuttlebutt is true and we're only getting one, then it's an evolution. Like, 100%. There's no way around it.
It's going to be either an evolution or like some bloody operated Generation 8 Pokemon. Sort of like look Mario was back in the old days.
Yeah.
Mario and or sort of quote unquote furry baits.
I'm trying to think of any other older Pokemon that haven't had any love. Even Yanma got an evolution.
Maybe Farfetch'd.
I doubt they'll go with that
Glorious.
beta design though. That's
Was
Yeah.
Madame just a fan name, or was that the actual name in the game? Because that's a lot on the nose.
It's hard to say what I would want to expand from Gen 1, to be honest, because they ended up doing most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in some cases it was vastly unfortunate. To be honest, in most cases it was vastly unfortunate.
I do kind of wish that we'd gotten the original Tangela pre-evolution and
Yes,
evolution.
that line just
That would have
Yeah.
been cute. Yeah.
The Meowth pre-evolution was quite cute as well, but
It
then
was
I would say that.
precious.
It was just a beheaded Meowth, though.
No, but it was so cute and small.
Just a smaller
The-
Meowth.
Yeah, that's the kind of the problem with it. It's a Digimon.
Most of the pre-evolutions, at least as far as aesthetics go, most of them were like Digimon. Yeah. I think the most hilarious to me is the Pichu evolution. The proto Pichu. It sort of looks like a Pikachu seed hasn't entirely finished sprouting yet.
It does kind of seem like they took a lot of inspiration from the whole, I can't even remember the name for it, the baby Digimon, for those baby Pokemon.
Just a bit.
Was it the in training, possibly?
Yeah, in training's like the level between baby and rookie, but it is the in trainings that are like this usually. The baby 2 phase in Japanese terminology. It's really hilarious to think about Digimon, to be perfectly honest. The way they've kind of shot themselves in the foot with the dumb. Because, yeah, basically, originally it was baby 2, child, adult, perfect, and ultimate.
It's a Japanese
boring.
one, isn't it?
And then, for some reason, at the dub, they went for the military analogy with the rookie, champion, whatever. And when they were doing the dub, they had no idea there was a phase beyond perfect, so they called them ultimates. And it's like, wait, so ultimates evolve into ultimates? Oh dear. Well, let's just call them mega.
And 15 years later, Pokemon came along and thought, "Oh, that's a good idea."
Yeah, I mean, remember when those things showed up and it was like, wait, we're digivolving Pokemon now.
I think the entire internet said that, to be honest.
Although, to be honest, it's less of a digivolution, more of a burst mode. But that is kind of a mechanic that's usually limited to one particular series.
Hey, it's a punk apricorn.
Yeah, I don't really get why they kept that.
They kept some kind of weird technical limitations far longer than they ever needed to.
Like how for alligator is still for alligator.
Well, you can't change that now, that's its name.
Yeah.
Like Capricorn's not dead.
Well, it's like it was Gen 6 before they fixed the move names.
Ace Trainer Rook has a good point. Taurus and Milk Tank just Milk Tank. Sorry.
Dominatrix Cow.
Oh, a pre-evolution
Yes,
for both
that.
of them.
And evolution.
Nem came up with a pre-evolution for one of those, for both of those.
Yeah, I remember.
He actually came up with quite a lot.
The fact that the only problem with that thing is the fact that they're not really actually the same species. Like if you're trying to breed a Miltank, it's not going to have random Tauruses. It's not like the Nidos or Volbeat and Illumise. It's just they're completely different for some reason. I
Yeah,
have no idea how the Taurus population survives, either through liberal application of dittos or it's just as the species is, complete bull.
That's terrible.
Snake! Someone stole my Pokemon! Get back here, yo! Okay.
we haven't even gotten to that part.
Spoilers.
I'd forgotten that we hadn't gotten that far.
Yeah. Problem is, having played Vietnamese Crystal, I just cannot think of that entire exchange without getting the lines in my head. I am a monster! Coach. I am very disgusted with a trashy map. It's a grunt apricot.
Suppose we should come up with a suitable name for this guy.
Oh no.
Just 3 question marks?
Oh no, I have to hurt Chikorita. Why'd you do this to me? It looks so happy.
Tough.
You get to punch it in its smug face. Or scratch it, I suppose.
It's Princess Fishy Pants and his plant types.
To be fair, if you had Chikorita, you wouldn't be able to see its happy face.
That doesn't make it better. I miss that. I miss the trainers coming in and talking at you in the middle of a match.
Yeah, that's kind of one of those things that I think one of the reasons Gen 6 and to a lesser extent Gen 7 felt a little bit hollow is they took out so much of this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like Gen 5 was the only gen where there were actually different battle themes in the same battle. Like there was the low health theme rather than a dee-doo, dee-doo, dee-doo forever and ever. And,
Honestly, I actually really love that, but they kind of... I can see why they dropped it at some point, because that particular theme grates after a while.
Well, I like what Gen 5 did. It just incorporated it into an actual theme.
Just
And then
ups
all
the
the
stress level of it. It was good.
Yeah.
It was great, actually, yeah.
And then obviously when you get to the last Pokemon for a gym leader or whatever,
Oh, yes, that
it
was
kicks into
glorious.
it kicks into another theme, which is really cool.
Mm.
To be honest, Generation 5 did a lot of things just right.
Yeah, I think
And
Black and White
they had
2.
to F it up later.
Yeah, I think Black and White 2 are probably, in terms of the fit and finish of it, they are the best so far. I mean, HeartGold and SoulSilver are a very close second there, because there are a few things that HeartGold and SoulSilver did that didn't quite make it across the generation barrier.
By the way, I just want to call out the fact that they fixed how you know the rival's name in this game.
It doesn't say his name is 3 question marks anymore.
Well, he drops his trainer card, you see. So you see his name, rather than just being prescient and just knowing his name by basically meeting him.
My name is Mark. 3 question mark.
We're gonna
Well, I
have to
think
call
we've
him
got his
Mark
name
now,
now.
aren't we?
He has nothing to do with it. It's actually my hat.
Alright.
Okay, we're being told Gen 6 is best gen. What do we think of that?
The best gen is always the most recent gen.
Yeah, but I think that's fair.
Yep. Except for Gen 5, which is the best gen.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's easy to understand why they make that mistake. After all, it is the most forgotten generation.
Don't, you'll summon him.
No, Gen 6, I think I enjoyed it when it was new, because the fact that it was 3D and it had all the new stuff it had, because mechanically it was the best game in terms of the changes and the improvements, overrode the fact that we lost so much, and I still have a soft spot for Mega Evolution.
Yeah, I'm a little bit salty about Mega Evolution getting effectively binned.
It was such a brilliant idea in terms of being able to take kind of some certain lines further than, they needed. That's further than they could with the whole 3 evolutions, and that's it sort of mechanic.
This is to go further beyond.
Yeah, that.
I think Gen
I'm
3 is
still
probably
kind
my
of-
favourite, just
Still
out of
kind of bitter
nostalgia.
about the fact that they kind of had vast frigging favoritism going on about the lizards, as they usually do. But yeah, Mega Evolutions are kind of a cool concept. Made my life a living hell when I had to explain how they work on a biological standpoint. But
Yep. I think they desperately needed to be fixed from a competitive standpoint, but from a pure kind of gameplay and lore standpoint, it worked. And I also think the fact that Mega Evolutions existed really cheapened Z moves when they came along.
the whole point of Z moves was that they were basically going, yeah, well, many evolutions are very restricted to a very small number of Pokemon. We want to do something that every Pokemon can use. Doesn't really help that most Z moves are hilarious looking, but not exactly the most useful things in the world.
Yeah.
We're nearly at an hour and we're learning how to catch Pokemon.
Yay!
On the plus side, JoJo poses.
Well, that was kind of the thing with Z moves. The first few times you used them, it was very cool. For me, the novelty wore off a little bit. It just became an I win button after a while.
They're not really as fun as Mega Evolutions are.
No, they're
They
not.
really aren't.
I feel like just within the lore of Pokemon and the general kind of spirit of it, Megas make a lot more sense anyway. Like Z moves are kind of a Mega Evolutions are too strong. How do we unstrong but still have something cool to sell playsets and toys with?
I do like the fact they kind of explained some things about it, and I mean, basically, you know, when they started off with the whole Mega Evolution thing, it was like, oh, you need a strong bond to do it, and then it was never actually incorporated into the games themselves. And then the Dex entries in Ultra Edge, well, even before Ultra Edge, just the basic Edge, kind of went on, and how this whole process is like drives Pokemon crazy and whatever. And the anime had a precedent for it with what's her face and her dog. What's his name actually? Karina, that's the one.
Oh yeah, roller skates.
Yeah, exactly, roller skates. And basically, I think that the take-home message from all of it was basically that you're kind of ridiculously supercharging a Pokemon with a lot more energy than they can normally handle. And yeah, they can't basically control this power unless you're there to call them back from whatever. Kind of like how Shadow Hyper Mode worked.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it kind of works.
I thought you were going to talk about Shadow and his power bands.
Well, it's Mega Stones. It's not that damn fourth Chaos Emerald.
I must admit that explanation is quite cool, and it's not something I really knew from playing the games, because it's either buried in lore or done in the anime. I kind of wish they had the bottle to actually use it in the game.
It's the same with everything with Pokemon. They basically hide everything about the games.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much lore, especially in Gen 4, with all the mythical legendaries. And it's there if you go and look for it, but it's never presented to you. It's never made part of the game or those characters in the game.
I don't
Yeah,
mind
some
that.
about the red chain.
Yeah.
I didn't believe it when someone told me about it on Reddit, and I was like, "This is bullshit." But I found it in the Platinum script, which luckily someone had put on Pastebin, and I was like, "Oh, look at all this sweet fanfic ingredient."
It shouldn't have been fanfic though. It should have been in the game.
A lot of things should have been in the game though, but they just kind of either forgot them or just straight up ditched them because they decided they were too complicated. Like going on top of Mount Coronet and playing the Ocarina of Time to summon a stairway to heaven.
I would have been down for that.
I would have been absolutely down for that.
Yeah,
Especially if you actually played classic rock when you fought Arceus.
I know, right? That thing actually has a pretty nifty theme song.
Yeah, it kind of does actually. I think with the legendaries, I don't necessarily mind so much that they're a little bit in the background. I don't mind kind of the idea of having to hunt down legends because
That's
they're legends.
I mean, that's one of the reasons I've done things in the RP forums the way I have. You'd basically have to do a hell of a lot of digging to have the slightest chance of running into one of these. They're like these ancient, massive cryptids.
Yeah, I mean, any other game would just hide them behind side quests, but Pokemon doesn't have side quests yet, so...
Yet.
Are we giving Geodude a nickname?
Not at the moment.
Aww.
I don't think we're going to use these guys for our team because Noctowl and Geodude are both generally kind of rubbish.
The Rock says.
We'll go from there.
The boulder is feeling conflicted about being used as box fodder.
I think to sort of go back to what I was saying about the whole Zedmoose thing, the whole kind of overpowering the Pokemon, overdriving the Pokemon, that would have worked well as an actual story element. But I think it was one of those things where, because it wasn't suitable for 6-year-olds, I think they maybe didn't use it too much.
Instead, actually, that's one weird thing about all of the new things introduced in Alola. It's basically said to be all in Necrozma.
Yep.
Ultra-based auras, Necrozma.
Lizard did it.
Totems, Necrozma. Z crystals, crystallized Necrozmalite. Basically, everything that's happening in Alola is Necrozma's fault somehow.
Yeah,
I mean,
makes
it's
sense.
and it's usually things that it did when it was still a giant mega ultra chicken radiating light everywhere. I'm still wondering, how did the Ultra Megalopian, or whatever the hell they call them, manage to break the thing so much? Here's a basic source of infinite energy forever. Let's reverse its polarity somehow. That's not going to change anything to the worse. Not at all.
They probably
No,
had
that
an
never
Elon Musk.
I don't know. I just felt like this kind of storyline where they deliberately kind of heavily constrain themselves on the storylines, unless they decide not to, like with the whole war thing in Gen 6 and most of Gen 5. They kind of go, oh, let's try and make it suitable for the kids and whatever. And the kids are all off watching Five Nights at Freddy's playthroughs on YouTube anyway, so it doesn't make any odds at this point.
Yeah, it's kind of... One of the things I'm actually kind of hoping for is that, because now they've got Let's Go aimed at all the filthy casuals, so to speak. I'm kind of hoping that they're not going to hold the real Generation 8 back.
I kind of hope
They have mentioned that it's going to be a bit more
traditional.
competitive geared or whatever.
I kind of hope it means that they can effectively cut loose with
Yeah.
the traditional games now, where they don't feel they have to restrict them so much as an entry point.
I'm not holding my breath, but I do hope so.
I think they did say, Izuka-san, no, it's Sonic, Ishihara-san, in the interviews last week, did say that the next games, they're intending them to not be an entry point, specifically.
Yeah.
No, that's interesting.
So their view is Let's Go is the entry point, and what comes next is a little bit more advanced than that.
It'll be interesting to see where they're going. At this point, I just want to see a world expansion. That's just my thing. I want more interesting creatures.
Youngster Joey!
Woohoo!
The man, the myth, the rat. The shorts.
It's taken literally an hour, and we're at our first proper trainer battle.
Would have been actually hilarious if they've hard-coded that Rattata to have like perfect IVs and everything.
I think they did, didn't they?
I think they didn't. It's kind of part of the thing. Would have been amazing if they did, though.
I kind of remember hearing that they did. I might be making that up.
Sorry, did what?
That that Rattata is actually hard-coded to have perfect IVs.
Oh, I think so.
Certainly in this version, you'd like to think that they would. I think we're going to get out of this route and then we're done. I will catch a ladybug, if I can. I don't think they come out at night though.
No, they don't.
It was basically, originally it was supposed to be that the ladybugs come out at day and the spiders come out at night, but then they kind of made a version counterpart for some reason. But the spiders come at night.
I will catch a Spinnerack if I can.
If they're even in this version. And there's another Pokemon that had a really great design in the Proto. I mean, I do like Ariados, but that original evolution of the thing was just this tarantula with cat ears. And they're supposed to be horrible, they just look like cat ears to me.
The thing that I find most weird with the original versions of Spinnerack and Ariados are how the back sprites are arranged so that you always see the face that's on the back of them.
Mm-hmm.
It looked really awkward.
Spinnerack is only HeartGold, so you won't be able to get it.
Pooh.
That's racism against spiders.
It is.
I really wish that was Lion. Now, there's Ariados is another Pokemon I think really needs a Mega Evolution or something, because
I'd like to see it get like a proper, just straight up evolution, to be honest, with some much better stats.
yeah, that's the problem with it. Great design, stats, but used with a solid kick to the teeth.
Gen 2 gets a little overlooked when it comes to stuff like this. Gen 1 obviously gets quite a lot of attention for a lot of obvious reasons.
One thing I've always kind of wanted is to see the first kind of 3-ish generations rebalanced stats-wise. So basically just literally go through and change all the stats to be, you know, faithful to the originals, obviously, but in line with what we've seen in Gen 4 and beyond.
Well, yeah, especially because after it was Gen 4 they did the physical and special split, wasn't it?
Yes.
It completely ruined some Pokemon.
Yeah, hi Flareon.
Yeah. Oh no!
Oh, you should have gone to talk to her.
No. It's taken forever enough to get somewhere.
Mother volcano remake.
That sound of silence is the sound of us all falling asleep.
This route is so long.
It is just the general problem with Pokemon early games is there's literally 2 or 3 hours before anything really interesting happens because it's generally past the first gym.
Fight gem.
Anything for us to catch in the dark cave?
Zubat.
Funny
Stumble
you said
around.
that. I just made a Dunsparce reference, and then you mentioned Dark Cave.
Just
I
another
do love
Geodude.
the title cards for the locations.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, it's just yet another example of how SoulSilver was just really, really polished. It was really nice.
I believe we've used some of the title cards for the trainer card maker for backgrounds.
There's also one in the background of the start and end stream windows for this. Specifically the Ilex Forest. It is dark. I'm not getting anything but Geodude. I've already got one of them. I can't see the exit.
Yeah, I come to think of it, did they move the thing? Where is our god now?
Where is what?
Hold on, I'm jumping. No, it is supposed to be Dark Cave. Huh.
Yay, bulk apricorn.
I was wondering if maybe they moved Dunsparce somewhere, because that's basically the only place to look for in this cave.
It's an encounter rate of like -5 though, isn't it?
It's fairly low. It's like it's like 1%. Sometimes there are swarms which becomes 40, but
Oh yeah, forgot about the swarming feature.
live for the swarm.
It's basically an excuse to bother you on the phone again.
Pretty much.
I think the gamers forgot about it in favour of SOS.
Oh god.
Let's give Bellsprout a nickname.
Any suggestions, chat?
Nice.
I'm actually going to stay quiet this time because I think I probably shouldn't suggest another awful name.
Well, it's a Bellsprout.
KOL, your obvious name got auto-modded.
I
best
don't
part
think
about
we can call
Bellsprout
it weed
is how
either.
they- Wait a minute. Focus. The best part about Bellsprout is how its design complements its national Pokédex number.
Oh.
That thing was
Right,
supposed to
so
get an alternative evolution
Runga,
to it.
Plant Boy, Mr. Electric, Venus.
Mr.
Weed.
Electric definitely won't fit. Venus will fit.
Venus works.
Well, kind of does, except it's both male and not a Venus flytrap.
Shh.
I kind of wish that we had.
Technicalities.
Kind of wish that we had the trippy disco evolution for it now, though.
That thing is hilarious to me because just its entire design, the way it has these little leaves growing out the back of it, picture and everything, it just kind of, it's like, oh my god, Becky.
What's happening?
Ah, we've updated the trainer card. That's what's happening.
Yes.
Ah. As if by magic.
Nearly there.
Someday this game will do something interesting.
On the plus side,
He's a real one.
on the plus side, next week we'll get to do a gym match.
Hooray!
Yay!
And then we can finally fight Gem and get beige.
Oh no. Oh. We might not be able to do a gym match. We might have to
Do
do
you
the.
have to level Geodude?
I'm thinking we might have to do the Bellsprout tie first, won't we?
Oh yeah.
So,
Well, you have to level Geodude at some point as well.
Yeah.
except that's not exactly the best place to deliver it up. What with all the bell sprouts and all.
Yeah.
You do have owls, but there are also ghosts.
At least things move a little bit more quickly in white.
Yeah, this really makes you appreciate how much faster the newer games are. Just pacing wise.
Well, the Sun and Moon are kind of all like cinematic and stuff. They're almost like actual modern games with stories and everything. It's great, and then you get to the first trial and it forgets the whole thing.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, it is still a Pokemon game. Although
Well,
it is,
yeah.
it is nice that they actually went back to having the story after the absolute fiasco that was Generation 6. But,
You could tell that all the writers that worked on Black and White and Black and White 2 were doing that rather than working on the Kalos storyline.
yeah. I still feel like Kalos was unfinished. Like,
It
they
was.
Had,
Oh,
they
it
had
absolutely was.
They had ideas going on, and then they were just kind of told, "Look, guys, you're just gonna have to rush it."
Yep.
Save it for the 20th anniversary games. Meanwhile, just release something. And it's typical for the French, they surrendered before they could finish it.
I mean, there's kind of a much more interesting story behind all that, which I don't know if we've ever really got into on Charms, because it could have been elsewhere on the internet, but it was very much a case of they were building something like Pokemon Z or whatever they might have called it, and then they had to drop it. They had to get rid of it and start making Sun and Moon instead, a new generation, for whatever reason. Which is why Zygarde it is so prominent in Alola, because obviously it was supposed to be the star of Z, and then wasn't.
I feel like they might have actually recycled the plot they had in mind for Z in the anime.
I think
so, yeah.
Pretty much.
Which is a good thing, because without spoiling anything, it was one of the best sagas the anime ever had.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard it's supposed to be extremely good. Not that I've seen it, but I've heard that it's extremely good. But it just ended up, I think the last sort of 5 years or so have been a little bit tumultuous for Game Freak, really, because I think they've been obviously working on the 3DS, and I think that was harder than they anticipated, really, which is why X and Y weren't as, shall we say, finished as we'd like. And then they tried to make Z and finish it off, and then they couldn't, and I can only assume it was something to do with the impending Switch, but I don't know. And then obviously they made Sun and Moon, and then they realized they needed another game, but didn't have time to make anything else, so they made Ultra Sun and Moon.
Well, if you think about it, the whole Stars rumor was effectively that Sun and Moon were developed alongside Stars, so that they would have a Switch version of the game immediately, as in a few months after the 3DS versions came out. So it seems likely that at some point, the Switch coming out and being a thing, Nintendo probably leant on Game Freak and said, you know guys, a Pokemon game would be pretty good. And that probably changed quite a few things.
Yeah, I think that's why we didn't get Z in the end. I think that's why we got Sun and Moon. Because as you say, I think it was supposed to be, less than 6 months between Sun and Moon coming out and Stars coming out, which would have been basically the same thing, but with a few things they couldn't fit on the 3DS.
Yeah.
And then they turned around and went, actually, no, we don't need it anymore. Make another 3DS game, basically.
And now we're getting Let's Go.
And now we're getting Let's Go, yeah, which is... it's the nicest stalling tactic I've ever seen, to be honest.
Yep.
And to be honest, if you see it as if you look at it that way, you can't really complain, because worst case, it's a game to ignore because it's filler. And best case, hey, we've got a game and it might well be pretty good. It probably will be as well. But from the point of view of, I'm someone who's been jumping up and down, shouting for things to, change. I want the games to be a bit more immersive and cinematic and generally modern, however that might work. And this is the game where they get to try that, which I like. I like the sound of that.
Gives them a chance to explore and do new things, not only in Let's Go, but in the games that come afterwards, by doing something else that's not Let's Go.
Yeah, exactly. So you've kind of got a year of experimentation where you can put a game out and they can change anything. And thus far, it seems that they have. They've chucked out wild battles, in favor of Pokemon Go style encounters, which I'm fine with. Sounds good to me. But if it really, really doesn't work, or if the fan base really doesn't like it, then it doesn't have to stay. They can just put it back.
In general, they've basically already announced directly that the next mainline games are not going to be anything like Let's Go, which honestly I approve of, because Let's Go and the hell out of the definition.
Yeah, it seems like they've got a team working on Pokemon 2019, and they've probably been working on that since Sun and Moon wrapped, possibly even a little bit earlier. And they have another team that worked on Let's Go. and apparently a third team to work on Ultra Sun and Moon, which explains why it feels like it was made by 3 people.
I'm pretty sure that actually I remember them actually saying that what they do is that they use the third versions as testing grounds for like their newest team members. It's like, you know, they have the main team build the first game in a generation, and they're like, you know, okay, now you noobs get to improve it.
Yeah.
Let's see what you do with it.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense from a development perspective as well. It's exactly what we would do in web development.
Sometimes you end up getting things like Black 2 and White 2, which, you know, actually had some very original ideas, some things that actually carried over to the next few games. It repels me frail for that. And yeah, sometimes you just get ultraed. I mean, they're not bad games, they're just so similar to Sun and Moon, with a few changes that just don't exactly work that well.
I mean, my theory is that they, because of the whole stars thing, and obviously eventually what led to Let's Go, I get the impression they had literally 6 months to make the game. Like, that's it, they had 6 months, because they were halfway through making stars and were told to scrap it. And we're like, okay, now we've got to make something on 3DS, try and salvage whatever you can from the Switch version, which won't be much. Just because they were already pushing the limits of the hardware with Sun and Moon, and you know, add some more onto it and change the story a bit, and off you go. And you know, it kind of feels like it was made in 6 months. It feels like it was very, very, very rushed.
It feels like it was made while being chased by a Resident Evil monster. Stars. Meanwhile, a robot's punching a bird.
I think this is going to be our last battle as well.
Leaving a magnifying glass.
It is fairly appropriate that you're grinding as a rock.
I know it's kind of a little sacrilegious to some people, but I do miss the EXP share.
Yeah. You mean that? I presume you mean the Gen 6 and Gen 7 EXP share?
Yeah,
I
the
was
one
gonna
that's
say
always
which
on and
version.
always helps.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. Honestly, I prefer it. I know this is heresy. I don't care. It makes the
Honestly,
game so
it's
much
not
less grindy.
heresy, It makes the game less grindy, which is the
Oh
best
no!
thing ever, really.
Well, this is the thing with getting rid of wild Pokemon battles as well, putting them on the overworld, is I think the way Pokemon is going, and if this is true, I'm very happy about it, they're trying to make it less grindy in general, which is good, because I've always considered grind to be kind of an artificial lengthening tactic for JRPGs.
I mostly
And for
agree.
everything, really.
However, consider the possibility that they might include other things from Go, such as having to power up your Pokemon using the same species of Pokemon, and thus having to catch an awful lot of the same kind of Pokemon.
Yeah, I was having a little bit of a hope there, and I think you've just dashed my dreams. That
Honestly,
said,
I
it would
think
make
that-
sense.
To be fair, having it based in a region should make finding the same species of Pokemon a bit more easy than just randomly going out into the real world and hoping you come across something.
Oh yeah, there'll be a logical place to always find them.
And getting run over by a Mew when driving a truck.
Well, not having to spend real money on Pokeballs will help, or hope you get it near a Pokestop.
Unless
The
you have
white
to
is still
send,
young.
unless you have to send Pokeballs in from Pokemon Go in order to use them.
Were you just
Uh,
centering yourself in the Pokemon Center to save?
Yes.
Doesn't
I
everyone
do
do that?
exactly the same thing.
That's how it works.
Yeah, that's completely normal. That's the only place in the game you can save.
Yeah. That's
Honestly, what
this
I'd
week's.
really love to see them do, and I know it's never going to happen, but still, I would really love to see them take a Monster Hunter World sort of approach to wild Pokemon. Like, I don't want it to be random encounters anymore, but I want them to still have some kind of a logical, ecological, whatever, and actually, like, pop out of wild grass or whatever, instead of just being static-ish sprites waddling around the world and being completely ridiculous looking. Because the way it looks right now on Let's Go from the trailers is just kind of bad.
It's basically just a better Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Exactly, it's a Pokemon Go emulator, but in Kanto TM.
Honestly, this is fine because it takes Pokemon Go, which is theoretically a good idea, just implemented awfully, and gives it a chance to be implemented not awfully.
Well, less awfully anyway. I mean, I don't know. It might work, it might not work.
Well, I'm sure we'll see a lot more about it on Tuesday.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think so.
So I'm sure we'll be talking about it even more next week.
Really looking forward to that.
In terms of E3, this channel will be hosting all of the E3 conferences this year, including Nintendo's, and we will be posting about Nintendo's when it happens on Tuesday, so keep an eye on the site.
I'm sure we'll all have a lot of opinions after it.
Very much so. So that's it for this week. Next week we might actually get to do something. Say goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Lators.
Laters.
Bye.